get on our honours board, you need to be more than just a brilliant bowler. This is all about the cricketers who have done it.
The news headlines: State House of Assembly declares another constituency seat vacant. Two-day business and investment summit ends in Uyo. And the Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation holds management workshop for staff. Details of these and other stories in just a moment. Well, good morning and thanks for joining us on the news. I am Samuel Udofia. The State House of Assembly has declared the Insular State constituency seat vacant. This brings to 5 the number of seats so far declared vacant in the House. The Speaker, Elder Samuel Ikon, while making the declaration, said the action is sequel to defections by the representatives of the constituencies to other political parties other than the ones on which platform they were elected. Citing Section 109, subsection 9 of the Nigerian Constitution, Elder Samuel Ikon assured that the State House of Assembly will continue to act within the ambits of the law for the maintenance of law and order in the state.
And this I would say is as my evidence informing me of the defection of the member representing Selected State constituency. I would like, for the avoidance of doubt, to read Section 109, 1G, Sub 1G and Sub 2, because recent events have shown me that maybe out of ignorance or lack of seeking to know, the people have tried to say what they don't know.
The plenary was adjourned to Thursday, March 19, 2015. The two-day business and investment summit put together by the Michelle and Michelle Business School has ended in Uyo. The event had as its theme Roadmap to Economic Prosperity, Building a Sustainable Business-Driven Economy. The story is presented in our studios.
Went up and former dean in the state described, especially at the is facing, was an eye on the need of the economy, the economic potential resources, organic for sustainment and economic for.
You're still watching AKBC 45 News at dawn. We apologize for the poor quality of that insert. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Stay.
campaign. Ejinari Jim Benaganida Omiago. A Louis Rufo is a Mesrufo. A Louis Jina, you don't Mesrufo.
The Rudum demand at the time and saw in the mind. Therefore, it's a man that made it when finally His Excellency Ajopo Minister Bendu. They have been noted that I put the Moses. When you look at how you get Capeno, Joseph, Acapella, okay. When they make a full of it, all of us at the full of the somebody in a man. You know, because
Udom is right and fair. For Udom is the best. For Kwaibom said, Udom is right and fair. Behold our next governor.
Still watching the news at dawn, and I'm Samuel Udofia. A two-day business and investment summit put together by Michelle and Michelle Business School has ended in Uyo. The event had as its theme Roadmap to Economic Prosperity, Building a Sustainable Business-Driven Economy. We'll bring you details.
This summit could not come at a better time than now, when there is serious need for a paradigm shift from a mono economy to a more vibrant and diversified economy which is knowledge and technology based and business driven.
Marcelo Formata explained that the Michelle Business School was focusing on practical knowledge with the curriculum designed alongside key experts in the industry. Dr. Formata said with the experts, knowledge and understanding of the business landscape would provide hands-on approach, real-world competence, and unprecedented utility to students. The Chancellor, who is also the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Amecom Global Limited, intimated the summit that the best management theories have to be complemented with practical experience and real-world cases to inspire institution and out-of-the-box thinking. He called on the government, individuals, non-profit and other related and relevant institutions to take advantage of the modules the school offers and charged participants to reflect on the summit for positive answers.
And this ambition, fueled by passion, engineered by hard work, has enabled me to traverse the road of the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of business successfully. And for me, the question of what next is in the raising bold entrepreneurs like myself and providing them with enabling platform that will empower them to thrive in a Nigerian dynamic business environment.
The chairperson, Center for Values and Leadership, Professor Pat Utomi, who was the panel lead discussant, said, "Success in business is derived when policy choice is made and strength of institution determined." Professor Utomi stressed the need for human capital development and education, advised participants to identify the kind of business they want, commercialize their ventures, and institutionalize them to succeed. In his keynote address, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Alder Consulting Limited, Leko Alder, said it was necessary to be creative for sustainable business development. He listed some characteristics for success to include persistent risk-taking ability, commitment, demand for efficiency and quality, ability to take initiative, ability to seek and manage information, persuasion, independence, and self-confidence.
The Ministry of Finance has organized a 2-day induction program for its newly recruited data analysts, data processors, and program analysts. Declaring the workshop open, the Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Akanokon, charged the inductees to strive for excellence through hard work and dedication to duty so as to fulfill their aspirations and advance to the peak of their career. The program, he said, was geared towards exposing the new staff to a broad spectrum of government operations, work procedures, rules and regulations, values and ethical conduct for civil servants. The Commissioner expressed appreciation to the State Governor, Chief Godswill Akpabio, for approving the recruitment of citizens of the state, especially youths, into the state civil service, even at a time where there is shortfall in revenue. While congratulating the inductees for their selection, he urged them to take the opportunity seriously to abide by the rules and regulations governing the service.
This induction program will enable you to understand the way it's applied in the sector of the work we do. It is a standard practice, international best practice, that the ones you are recruited, opportunity should be given to you to let you know the internal working of the organization.
Addressing the participants, the Permanent Secretary, Elder Offiong Udofe, said as custodians of information, they were expected to comply with the ethics of the profession, especially the principle of secrecy. Elder Udofe, who stated that government places high premium on capacity building, harped on self-development through in-service training in order to improve their skills. On his part, the Director of Administration, Mr. Emmanuel Essien, expressed optimism that the resource persons would do justice to the broad-based papers lined up for the workshop. Speaking on behalf of the participants, Idorenyan Inyang said they were proud to be part of the State Civil Service and thanked Governor Akpabio for the opportunity, promising to work hard for enhanced productivity and service delivery. The workshop also featured administration of oath of secrecy on the inductees by Barrister Udo Udofia. Also, a 3-day induction seminar for newly employed social welfare officers in the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Welfare has ended with a call on the officers to put into practice knowledge gained for efficient performance. The Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Dr. Gloria Edet, made the call while declaring the seminar closed at the Women Development Center, IBB Way, Uyo. Represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mrs. Arot Okpo, the Commissioner expressed appreciation to the resource persons for their time and energy in ensuring that the officers were well informed on the rudiments of their office. Dr. Edet advised the social welfare officers to properly represent government and the ministry in the discharge of their duties. Presenting a paper on the role of a social worker in conflict resolution, Mrs. Udwak Akpan stated that an important part of a social worker's responsibility is to manage conflict in a productive manner. In another paper, The Social Worker and Relevant Laws and Policies, a social welfare officer, Mercy Upong, said social welfare workers need to be aware of the laws regulating their office. The Director of Administration, Mrs. Esther Inyang, in a paper, Ethics and Regulations of the Civil Service, said there are rules governing the conduct of civil servants and that the breach of such rules can result in termination of appointment, recruitment from service, retirement from service, or dismissal. You're still watching the news. Let's take another break. We'll be right back. Stay. I am Samuel Udofia. More news. The People's Democratic Party campaign team in Abak Etemekpo Ika Federal Constituency has appealed to the people of the area to vote for PDP candidates during the forthcoming elections. The appeal was made when the team visited some wards in Abak local government area. Udeme Okongo reports that supporters were on hand to welcome the team in all the wards visited. The story is here presented in our studios.
The team had the governorship running mate, Mr. Moses Ekbo, some members of the State Executive Council, the PDP candidate for Abak Etemekpo Ika, Mr. Emmanuel Ekun, candidate for Abak State Constituency, Elder Friday Iwok, in that of Etemekpo Ika, Mr. Gabriel Toby, as well as the immediate past Director General of Akwa Ibom Broadcasting Corporation, Pastor Praise Okun, among others. Appealing for support from the people of Otoro Wards 1, 2, and 3, and Afarobon Ward 1 and 2, the PDP governorship running mate, Mr. Moses Ekbo, noted that the present administration in the state has positively touched the lives of the people and required them to vote for the candidates of the party during the elections.
Udom ben Moses. Esa hande ke. Kedem gwerawasi. Ani abu ibam, ani abu ibam. Amma gese nangampo na afon.
Also addressing the people, the Commissioner for Information and Communication, Mr. Nyekan Umana, and his special duties counterpart, Barrister Emmanuel Enoidem, advised the people to support the PDP to produce the next governor for more development, as well as vote for President Goodluck Jonathan to continue with the transformation of the country. They also advised the people to safeguard their permanent voter cards from external influences.
I don't know at the PDP. And we go, I listen, why we stay, get that camoso. I at the party politics, House of Representatives, governorship position, Senate or presidency, PDP, Erika, election.
Elder Moiborite, who is the Director General of the Abak Federal Constituency Campaign Team, the PDP Chapter Chairman in Abak, Obong Udobong Beye, Ward Chairman, women, youth leaders, and some royal fathers pledged their support to the PDP. The candidate for Abak Etemekpo Ika Federal Constituency, Mr. Emmanuel Ekun, and that of Abak State Constituency, Elder Friday Iwok, appreciated the people for their support and promised to partner the electorate for more development if elected into office.
If it is more projects, more empowerment, more people that will get job or get employment.
The crowd that come out wherever we go to, you believe that it is a done deal.
Cultural displays from the 5 wards visited entertained.
A 3-day broadcast management workshop for management and staff of the corporation has opened in Uyo. Facilitated by Macrovision Services Limited, Media and Management Consultants Lagos, the workshop is to sharpen the skills of participants for effective service delivery. Etienne Ibanga takes us into the workshop.
The role of broadcast media in informing, educating and entertaining the public and how professionals should operate based on ethical context came into focus. Declaring the workshop open, the Acting Director General of AKBC, Mrs. Elsie Udofia, said the importance of training and retraining of personnel for excellent service delivery informed the hosting of the workshop. Mrs. Udofia emphasized the need for teamwork for radio and television operatives for success to be achieved. She expressed the hope that participants will be well equipped at the end of the workshop in order to add value to the system.
That in order for us to be able to achieve on our mandate, we need to synergize our thoughts, our ideas, our services, because just like it's in the football field, that we are all within the same team, and we need to play, with the team spirit in order to be able to succeed.
The facilitator of the workshop and a retired general manager of the Nigerian Television Authority, Chief Biodun Ajijola, commended the acting DG AKBC, Mrs. Elsu Dofia, for her commitment to sustaining excellence and ensuring that radio and television witness greater impact. Chief Ajijola stressed the need for media workers to uphold the ethics of the profession, have integrity, and be well grounded in relevant laws to respond to the dynamics of the environment. Describing broadcasters as bridges between the government and the governed, the media consultants advised the participants to be conscious of what they put out to the public, as information could be informed, misinformed, deform, or reform the society. He also called on them to give adequate attention to operational environment, culture of the people, intention of the government, and the needs of the people. While emphasizing the need for people to add value to the corporate goals and objectives of the organization, Chief Ajijola said management should also appreciate the performances of staff.
One misinformation can put the whole Nigeria in flames if we don't know how to manage it. So it is very important for us to make sure that we want to inform people, we are well informed. He said broadcasting is supposed to inform, entertain, educate. We have interviewed people so that the credibility of what you are sending out on radio or television is never in doubt. And when you are in doubt, leave out.
The workshop will end on Thursday this week. Etienne Ibanga reporting.
Faithful of Great Faith Ministries International Incorporated, drawn from across the states, converged on the church's 25 Emco Lane corporate headquarters on Sunday for the 2015 Rehoboth Convention to appreciate God as the church clocks 20. The event also coincided with the 14th year consecration anniversary of Bishop Udeme Simon. Idara Bonse was there for AKBC 45 News.
Songs of joy filled the air in appreciation of God's abundant mercies and sustenance of the ministry this past 20 years. Bishop Udeme Simon, who drew inspiration from the Psalms, said it is God's command that Christians praise Him for His benevolence. According to Bishop Simon, one weapon that Christians may use in defeating their enemies is constantly praising God, emphasizing that praises move Him to do more abundantly.
As you come to this convention and sing praises unto God from the depth of your heart, God will clear all the blockages.
In his homily, Bishop Samuel Ekpan from Port Harcourt, who tagged its message, Manifestation of the Saint Man via Praise, said God uses men to perfect His plan concerning fellow human beings.
It doesn't matter who prophesies to you, but the men are available to enhance the manifestation of the promise. It's not possible. I declare to you after this meeting, the gift of this convention is a gift of men.
The event climaxed with the ordination of elders, evangelists, pastors, deacons, and deaconesses, as well as the presentation of certificates. Meanwhile, the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Meba Sivasi, visited the church in furtherance of his campaign for the vaccination of children against poliomyelitis.
We're trying to ensure that every child across the states, 0 to 5 years of age, is immunized against polio.
Idara Wongse, reporting.
The annual Inter-Health Sports Competition of 14 schools has been held at the school sports arena. 4 houses featured in events including 100-meter and one-legged races, cycling, treasure hunt, beauty pageant, bottle race, and match past. Olubayo Akindele covered the event. The story is here presented.
Red House dominated both the junior and high school categories as they were crowned winners, with 123 and 387 points, closely followed by Greenhouse, which also came second on both fronts with 109 and 282 points. Yellow House and Blue House were placed 3rd and 4th in the junior category with 94 and 85 points, while Blue House came 3rd with 268 points to finish 3rd at the senior secondary school category, leaving Yellow House at the 4th position with 222 points. Esieno Boangabasi and Victory Daniel Ekong, both of the primary school level, emerged as Mr. Fortune and Miss Fortune. Odo Onyekanetuk became the new king, while an infant Samuel was crowned the new queen of the school. There was also a 100 meters race involving parents and staff of the school, while St. Bryant Model College emerged winner of the 4x100 meters race for invited schools. The founding chairman of the school, Senator Aloysius Etuk, reiterated his commitment towards improving the quality and standard of education, not only in Fortune schools, but in Akwa Ibom State.
For the children, I want to congratulate you for the feat you've achieved and for enjoying yourself, loosening up, because learning without play would make you a dull child. I think I have added value to humanity.
The wife of the founding chairman and proprietress of the school, Ms. Etuk, implored parents to always encourage and support their children who show interest in any sporting activities.
Parents and the general public is that they should release these young ones.
I'd like to hand over the microphone to you and the Queen.
They are going to
for the victory ceremony in Paji.
The principal of Fortune High School, Mr. Matthew Udo, appreciated God for the success of the event, adding that the sporting event is put in place for the physical and mental fitness of the students.
The death has been reported of a chief nursing officer with the ophthalmology department of the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, Pastor Aret Anietia Ekefre, aged 50 and fondly called Adidi by friends and colleagues. She died on February 9, 2015. Trained as a nurse at the School of Nursing, St. Margaret's Hospital, Calabar, she was registered as a nurse in 1988, and in 1995 she got registered as a midwife and graduated with a diploma in ophthalmic nursing in 2002 from the University of Benin Teaching Hospital. The deceased began her service as a staff nurse in 1988 and through dint of hard work had served in virtually all units in nursing at the University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, finally settling in the eye clinic ward, from where she transferred her services to the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital in August 2014. She was a devoted child of God of the Kwaibo Church faith and also married into the same faith, later to be ordained a pastor to serve alongside her husband in the Lord's Vineyard at the Christ Chapel International Churches. A statement signed by her husband, Pastor Anietia Ekefre, indicates that the service of songs in her honor will hold today, Wednesday, at the Christ Chapel International Churches, Ekrin Sukara, Uyo, between 5 and 7 o'clock in the evening. The funeral service, according to the statement, will hold at the Playground Shelter Afrique Housing Estate on Friday, March 20, 2015 at 10 o'clock in the morning, to be conducted by the Christ Chapel International Churches. She is survived by 3 children, several relatives, including an aged mother. Despite the gaps remaining, there is some progress in the talks to restrict Iran's nuclear program as negotiations continue in Switzerland, where 6 world powers will produce a political framework which Iran can accept. This and more from Channel 45 Foreign News with Mercy Ekere.
Talks concerning Iran's nuclear ambition resumed in Switzerland between United States and Iran. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry urged Iranian government to take decisions that will enable a political framework agreement for a nuclear deal that will lift UN sanctions. He also criticized U.S. Republicans who had sent a letter to Iran warning that any deal that bypasses the Senate will not be binding. One of the main issues is how much uranium Iran is to be allowed to develop and how much should be relocated to other countries. The West also wants Iran to accept tight restrictions and intrusive monitoring of its atomic sites for at least 10 years. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini says the open gaps and the way forward have been top on their discussion. June 30th has been set as a deadline to finalize all technical details of an accord. Britain's Prince Harry will be leaving the army in June after 10 years of service that included 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. According to Harry, leaving the army has been a tough decision, but he is excited about the future. Harry's final duties in the army will include a 4-week assignment with Australian Defence Forces between April and May. The Prince will also spend time in Darwin, Perth, and Sydney and attend centenary commemorations of the World War I Gallipoli campaign in Turkey. 30-year-old Prince Harry is the 4th in line to the British throne. France's government has packaged a set of reforms aimed at preventing radicalization of its citizens in prison. This comes in the wake of the recent jihadist attacks in Paris. Muslim preachers will be trained to encourage a generation who are nationalistic. 2 of the 3 Charlie Hebdo attackers are thought to have been radicalized in prison. The French Ministry of Defense will test new ways of tackling the spread of jihadist ideology in the country's prisons by setting aside designated facilities on their premises for inmates deemed to be at risk of radicalization. There are also plans to employ 100 psychologists and counselors over the next 2 years to work with the inmates in the new wards. The health of Singapore's founding leader and ex-Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew has worsened. 91-year-old Lee has been hospitalized for severe pneumonia since February 5th at the Singapore General Hospital, where he is on life support at the intensive care unit.
All right, thank you, Mercy Akere, and that concludes our news. You can also watch AKBC TV News online by logging on to akbconline.org or follow us on Twitter at AKBC45 or on Facebook at AKBC Channel 45. And now to end the news, the recap. The leadership of the State House of Assembly has declared another constituency seat vacant. This brings to 5 the number of seats declared vacant, consequent upon the members defecting to political parties other than the ones on which platform they were elected. That's our package. Thanks for watching and have a great day.